How you doing, Sandesh here? I'm going to be reading from Tech for Gamers, and this one I just find absolutely hilarious. How all the how all the journalists were well, basically the gaming mainstream media was saying, "Oh, Assassin's Creed Shadow is doing so well and this and that." Well, the thing is, we haven't seen any sales data as far as when it comes to digital or physical. And the thing is, anyway, I'm going to be reading from this article, and it's called Ubisoft stock has plummeted to its lowest value in over a decade. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to get into it now. To call Ubisoft's recent history a rough patch would be an understatement. Many of the company's big AAA titles, including Star Wars Outlaws and Skull and Bones, failed to meet expectations. All this failure, um, Sweet Baby Inc. and had a big influence on how bad they've been doing as far as their stock price. Sweet Baby Inc. deserves about 50% of the blame for this, and the other 50% is down to Ubisoft management, because since they worked closely with Sweet Baby Inc. So it's um, Ubisoft was stupid, and obviously, Sweet Baby Inc. weren't going to obviously give a shit. The recent release of Assassin's Creed Shadows did steadily the ship a bit, but the thing is, it weren't going to be enough. However, the impact wasn't large enough for Ubisoft to sustain itself. It had to partner up with Tencent in a new deal to give up some control of its premier AAA franchises, which is not reflecting well in the stock market. A constant decline of value could result in the end of Ubisoft, especially with Tencent now owning parts of its major IPs. Ubisoft stock is the lowest since 2013, with its price going below €8 per share, an 8% decrease from last Friday. With their shares and that low, you know what I would say, if you want to buy Ubisoft stock, now's the time to do it, because since it's €8 a share, the value has since rebounded to um 8.8 euros 96 euros. But to put this drop into perspective, the gaming giant's share value has dropped another 33% since January 1st, 2025. Furthermore, compared to the company's peak in 2018, which was 94 euros, the share price has fallen a whopping 86 euros in the 7 year duration and was just 23 euros just last year. Hence, the Tencent deal hasn't had the impact Ubisoft hoped for. They're not going to see the impact yet. What's going to end up happening is they're going to have to bear the brunt for I would say, a good 5 years, because what they're going to have to do is upcoming games that are coming out, they're going to have to make them, but Sweet Baby Inc. cannot have any involvement in them at all. They can't have any influence with them at all, because it has shown that games on where Sweet Baby Inc. were directly involved ended up failing. And obviously, Sweet Baby Inc. weren't going to give a shit, because at the end of the day, they got their consulting fee. So they obviously, it wasn't going to matter to them if a game was going to succeed or fail. Um, Many also think that the new tariffs imposed by the US government contributed to this, but the stock value started declining a day after the Tencent deal was announced. See what I mean? They gotta blame it on Trump, ain't they? They gotta blame it on Trump's tariffs. But the thing is, other countries do tariffs onto America, so the thing is, you can't exactly blame Trump's tariffs. You can't exactly blame Trump's tariffs, because I know that Nintendo tried to do the same with the Switch 2 announcement. It's like you can't do that bullshit, because at the end of the day, other countries do the same to America, and just like it said here, the stock value started declining a day after the Tencent deal was announced. So basically, that's just bullshit. Even the relative success of Assassin's Creed Shadows hasn't helped Ubisoft's standing on the stock market, with the value crumbling even after the game's positive commercial and critical performance. The industry has labelled the new partnership between Ubisoft and Tencent as beneficial, but with employees facing layoffs. Only time will tell how it pans out. As for now, Ubisoft shares are the cheapest that they ever have been, so it will be a good time to invest. Just like I said, look how cheap their shares are. Um, anyway, it's not surprising that I'm not even surprised that Ubisoft are doing this bad, and it was going and even with the success of Assassin's Creed Shadows was not going to be enough to offload all the decline. It would one game, one big AAA game was not going to be enough. It just wasn't going to be enough, and we haven't seen any data relating to how many people bought it physical, how many people bought it digital. The only data we saw was how many players played it on console and on Steam. That was all we saw. We didn't see any data as far as how many units were sold. We never saw any of that, so I'm not even surprised that the thing is that didn't really move the needle as much, because just like I said, one game was not going to be enough, because their success, because their recent games have just been doing bad, 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 and like I said earlier, it's gonna be a rough few years for Ubisoft, because I would say give them at least 5 to 10 years, because they're just gonna have to bear the brunt of it, because trust in the Ubisoft name as far as gamers is at an all-time low. How many people really like Ubisoft? Ask yourself that. Um anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.